Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here with us. The arena in Prague left felt different that evening, not in a dramatic or overwhelming way, but in a quiet, steady sense that something meaningful was about to unfold. The audience had already witnessed many performances, each with its own rhythm and character, yet there was a subtle shift in attention as the final skater peppered. Among them was Cody Scamato, a name that had come to represent consistency, strength, and distinct style that set her apart over the year. As the IUSU World Figure Skating Championship progressed toward its conclusion, its atmosphere became increasingly focused. This was not simply the final segment of competition; it was the culmination of months of preparation, careful planning, and gradual improvement. Each skater carried their own story onto the ice and shaped by training, setback, and small adjustments that had been made over time. When Sakamoto stepped onto the ice, there has no immediate sense of urgency or spectacle. Instead, there was a calm presence, a familiarity in the way she positioned herself and began to move. Her skating did not rely on sudden intensity, it developed gradually, allowing each movement to connect naturally to the next. This approach created a sense of continuity as through the performance was unfolding in a single uninterrupted line. The opening element was executed with clarity. Each jump, each step was placed carefully within the structure of the program. What stood out was not only the technical accuracy but also the steadiness of her time. There was no visible hesitation, no unnecessary acceleration. The performance moved forward as consistency piece, allowing the audience to follow without distraction. The sense of control has been a defining characteristic of Sakamoto's skating. Over the years, she had developed an ability to maintain balance between technical demand and expressive movement. Rather than separating these aspects, she integrate them, allowing the technical element to become part of the overall flow. The integration is not achieved quickly, it is a result of repeated practice of refining the small detail until they align naturally. As the program continued, the transition between elements became more noticeable. There was a smoothness in how one movement led into another, reducing the sense of interruption that can sometimes occur in complex routine. This continued to contribute to the overall impression of the stability. The audience did not need to adjust their focus repeatedly. Instead, they were able to remain engaged with the progression of the performance. The middle section of the routine carried a slight different tone without changing the overall piece significantly. There was a subtle shift in expression. The movement became more open, allowing for a broader use of space across the eyes. The change did not feel abrupt. It emerged gradually as through the performance itself was evolving rather than in transitions. From a technical perspective, the execution remained consistent. The jump was completely with controlled landing and the spin maintained with clear position. However, that made the performance notable was not a single element but the accumulation of well executed detail. Each component contributed to a large structure, creating a performance that felt completely rather than segmented. As the routine approached the first final section, there was a quiet sense of resolution. The movement did not become more dramatic or faster in an obvious way. Instead, they settled into rhythm. They felt conclusive. This approach allowed to ending emerge digitally without relying on contrast or sudden emphasis. When the program concluded, the reaction from the audience was immediately but composed. There was a recognition of what had been presented and understanding that the performance had achieved a high level of clarity and balance. It was not a reaction driven by surprising but by acknowledgement. Following the performance, attention shifted to the evaluation process. Scores in figure skating are determining through a combination of technical and component assessment. Each element is reviewed and each aspect of presentation is considered. This process of required time, and during at that time, the atmosphere remained focused. When the results were confirmed, Karu Sakamoto's position at the top of the standing became clear. This outcome presented more than a single successful performance. It reflected a continuation of development that had kept place over multiple seasons. Achievements at this level are rarely isolated. They were built through consistency, effort, and gradual improvement. The significance of this result can be understood from several perspectives. On one level, it marked a victory within a specific competition. On another level, it contributed to a broader narrative of progress within the sport. Sakamoto approach, characterized by stability and integration, offer a model that differs from one dramatic style yet remain equally effective. It's also important to consider the context in which the performance occurred. The competitive field at the World Championship include athletes from various countries, each bring different strengths and approach. Success in such an environment requires not only technical ability but also the capacity to maintain focus under varied conditions. In the case, the performance demonstrated an ability to maintain consistency regardless of an external factor. The structure of the program was maintained from beginning to the end, and the execution aligned with that structure. The alignment is a key factor in achieving high results as it ensures that each part of the performance supports the whole. Looking beyond the immediate outcome, the victim may influence future development. Other skaters and coaches may observe the element and contribute to its success. Considering how similar principles might be applied in different contexts, in each way, individual performance can have a broader impact on the direction of the sport. At the same time, it is important to recognize that each athlete follows a unique path. While certain approach may prove effective, they are shaped by individual strength and performance. Sakamoto's skating reflects her own development, her own decision, and the environment in which she has trained. As the event in concluded, the memory of the performance remained was not a single moment but was a sequence of commentative movement. It is this continuity that defines its lasting impression rather than focusing on isolated highlight. The performance can be understood as a complete structure built through attention to detail or sustained effort. In reflect on this result, it becomes clear that achievement in figure skating are closely tied to process. Training session, incremental adjustment, and repeated practice all contribute and what is eventually seen on the ice. The final performance is a visible outcome of this underlying effort. The victory at the ISU World Figure Skating Championship is in mark the conclusion of one phase, which also indicating the potential for further development. For those who follow the sport, this moment offered an opportunity to observe how consistency and clarity can shape results. It encourages a focus on the element that build performance over time rather than only the outcome itself. As the arena gradually impacted and attention moved toward future events, the significance of the evening remained in the details that have been presented. The measured pace, the connected movement, and the steady execution all contribute to a performance that can be understood through careful observation. In this way, Kari Sakamoto victory can be seen not only as a competitive achievement but also as an example of how sustained effort and thoughtful structure can come together to create a meaningful result. Thank you for watching the video. If you are getting more interesting video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.